So today I'm going to show you how to make a cookie board, and I'm making mine for Father's Day. So I'm using our DIY sets. So the little man I'm going to change into hobbies like BBQing, DIY, painting or gardening. I'm going to show you how to do those. And also I've used different sets to emboss around the outside edge of the board and just paint them in. So that will complement the design. So I'm going to make the cookies, and I'm using the non-spread cookie dough. The recipe for this is at the end of the video, and I'm just putting a little bit of Trex on there, and that will just hold it down when I cut the shape out. So roll your cookie dough to about 1/4 inch thick. And then I'm taking the little DIY man, just press round the outside edge, and then I'm going to use a craft knife. So just follow that line round. I'm leaving the hat till the end, because you may want to change the look of the hat. So if you want to have a DIY and it's going to be a yellow hard hat, then you keep the little brim cut round there. If it's going to be a gardener and you don't want to have have it as a cap, which you can do, but if you don't want to, then you would just cut through there and remove that part of the cap. And if it's going to be a chef, I'm going to use the little chef's hat from the fruit and veg and utensils. I'm just going to put that on there like that, and just depends on how high you want the hat to come. You would then press round. That's what I'm going to do now, and press round that, and then I'm going to take that up round the hat. So it all depends which one you're going to do. Now the cookie dough will peel away very easily. Just put that to one side, and just be careful when you come to the hand, because that little thumb that's sticking out, if you lose it, no problem, but it is nice to actually have everything on there that should be on there. Right, and then if you have any little jagged bits, you can just go back, even with the handle of your knife, and just press those in. But that's quite a nice clean cut. And so then you would lift that onto your baking tray and get a little knife under there. And place that onto your baking tray, and you'll be baking that for about 10 to 12 minutes. So I've got one here that I've got a couple here to show you. I've already baked. That one is going to be with the little peak cap, and that one is without. So I'm now going to go on to showing you how to ice them. So I'm going to cover the cookie with sugar paste. So this is just ordinary sugar paste, shop bought, nothing added to it. I'm putting a little bit of Trex on there, and then roll out the paste. You don't want it too thick. Just make sure it's nice and smooth. Haven't any ridges on there. And then take the cutter, place onto the paste and press around the outside edge. lightly in the middle, just so that you have the embossed pattern, so you know where to put the different colours when you're painting. Give a little flick, and then you can just peel that paste from around the outside edge. Just going to use a cocktail stick to help that. And then if you have a small brush with a little Trex on, you can just rub that round the outside, and that will take any of the feathering away. Now you can use jam or buttercream on the cookie just to attach this on. Make sure get that as smooth as you can. So I'm just going to use this. A little, I'm going to put some buttercream on mine. And these cookies are quite chewy, so the buttercream also helps to keep the icing nice and soft. And then you need a knife with a fine blade, and just start to loosen underneath. And don't worry if anything drops off, you can just put it together like a jigsaw puzzle. So we're going to lift that carefully over and pop it on top of your cookie. Just going to move that face over a little bit. And a little cap up there. Okay, and then I'm going to leave that. So if you were going to do a lot of these, then by the time you get back to the first one, it will have skinned over. But I would leave them for about an hour just to firm up before you paint them. So I'm going to paint over the sugar paste, and you can either use dust colours or the gel colours, whichever you prefer to use. And I'm still going to mix them with isopropyl alcohol. So I'm going to give him black shoes and squirt a little of the colour. Always looks a little bit blue, this, but it does dry black. So just, you may even want to give it 2 coats of that. Just water to clean your brush. And a little kitchen paper just to take the excess water off. And I'm going to give him blue trousers. So again, just a thin wash of colour. I'm just keeping all the brush strokes going the same way. And then I'm going to take the water off. A little of the pink will give him a nice bright pink shirt. Just work that round. You can always go back and give a second coat if you want a deeper colour. And then flesh. Just going to take that colour from the eye. And then some brown for the hair. Now the isopropyl alcohol will dry really quickly, so you can paint two colours next to each other without them running. I'm going to do the yellow hat. So if I'll explain a little bit more later on about the various figures and how to do the hats, etc., and hair and chef's hats, but this one is just a straightforward hard hat for the DIY. I'm going to change to a smaller brush and take a tiny amount of the pink and just go over the mouth. Take off some of that colour. And then a tiny dot of black in each eye. So dot in that one and then in that one. For the chef, I've cut out the figure and the little hat using the little chef's hat cutter, and then you need to just remove this hat and then, just as I did before, you would moisten and pop that on top of the cookie, and with the hat you need to remove that part because that's the inside of the hat which you wouldn't see, so that is removed and again moistened and placed on top of the cookie. So you can just elongate that or shorten it if you wish to, but it fits on top of the cookie. And then you would paint the stripes, so you'd paint across the legs and wider stripes across the tummy and then fill in with the little squares just to make the chef's trousers. For the gardener, you would just remove the peak from the cap, place the cap on top, mark it so that it looks like hair, and then paint it brown to match the little sideburn there. For any small pieces that the figures are holding, you do need to firm your paste up a little bit. So take a little piece of the sugar paste and then give it a good pinch of tylo powder, so that's the powder will firm your paste up slightly. I only need a tiny bit for this. So just work it, leave it for about an hour, and then it's good to use. It's a lot firmer than just sugar paste on its own. And then a little Trex on the board and roll out the paste. And I do it all in white, and then I just paint it as I need it. So little tricks on the cutter, press, peel the paste away, and then you can lift that onto a sponge pad to dry for a couple of hours before you paint it. And then because it's dry, it will then, you can attach it with a little bit of softened sugar paste onto the hands. So if the gardener will have a little plant pot, he's got an apple, just choose whichever thing you want to go in the hands. If you don't want to take the time to cut out the cookies in the figure shapes, then you can use a little cutter, any size that will take the size of the little figure. So I've used a little scallop cutter here to make the cookie, and I've used the same cutter then to cut out the sugar paste plaque. So you're making a little plaque, emboss it and paint it just the same as I've done all the other painting, and spread a little, again, jam or buttercream onto your cookie. Neatly, and then just attach the plaque on top. For the cookies in the centre of the board and around the outside edge, I've used a selection of our cutter embossers, and for the dad I've used the ET Classic Alphabet set. I hope you'll have great fun making yours, and I'll see you next time.